This week on the Habitat build, we are framing the walls. Right now I am using 14 gauge 2x3 steel to basically make the roof line of the Habitat. The steel comes in 20-foot lengths from the mill, and I needed to add an extra foot to it, so I'm splicing an extra foot into each section here. So first off, I have to, clean it, grind it, cut it at a 45, splice weld it together, pet the dog a little bit, and just go back to work. Today it is drizzly. So I got the extensions for the roof line welded up yesterday, and with the help of my wife Danielle, we got them up there and clamped in. You can see them held there at the very top. Shop's not as tall as I wish it was, but it'll have to work. So right now I'm setting up the welder, and I'm going to go ahead and start finish welding some of these upright seams. From there I'm going to go ahead and weld up the roof line into the uprights. And then that's going to give me the basic outline of the structure that I'll start framing off of. Because the shop floor is not perfectly level, I had to level the frame the best I could. And here I'm using 2 angle finders, so I can basically go off the degree settings from each of them, so I make sure everything is plumb. The passenger side of the Habitat tacked in, I start double checking all my measurements and alignment for the driver's side. Once that's done, I'll get that tacked in, and then I'll check it again, probably one more time after that, before I finish weld everything. With the roof line fully welded in, I start working on what is to become the bedroom wall framing. Once that's done, I will start working on what is to become the departure angle and the very tail section of the Habitat. Again, another tech tip I mentioned before when you're working alone is clamps and some blocks of wood can basically be an extra set of hands. So here I am using the clamps to hold the steel where I need it so I get a good angle, and then when I get done I'll weld it in. With the departure angle set, I go ahead and cut the steel for both sides, get it set up, then I'll come back, tack that in, take some more measurements, and then weld it in. With the tail section fully welded in, departure angle set, I take a break and admire my work. We have completed the exterior frame. So this right here is our tail section, and which is going to be the bedroom area. We've got the departure angle all sorted out. Coming around, like I said, we've done all of our angle cuts, angle finding. This will be the front section right here where it extends over the snorkel and the spare tire area. So coming around right here, we've just got a whole lot of straight cuts to do. We're gonna start doing the windows and doors first. Make sure those all end up exactly where the customer wants them in the proper placement. And then after that, it's just a lot of straight cuts and a lot of welding. With everything plumb and everything in line, I start cutting the studs for the walls. First here I'm putting the door in, and then from there I'll frame out all the rest of the windows and other hatches and openings. And then once that's done, we'll go ahead and just start slinging framework. I then start to mock up the windows and hatch areas with some masking tape. Just want to double check all these locations to make sure they're where they're supposed to be before I start cutting all the steel and putting it in. So framing the walls, the exterior of the frame is all 1/8 mild steel. The internal portions of the frame, to keep everything light, and the roof line are all being framed at a 14 gauge. Wall studs all tacked in, I start putting up the ceiling joists. These are going to be a 3-point connection weld, so it's going to connect and weld to the main exterior frame and the studs. I start working on the tail section. This is going to be the bedroom wall. On this side we're going to have a window and a hatch, so I have to make sure everything is perfectly aligned before setting that up to weld. lucky for me, just about quitting time, Danielle, my wife, shows up. We get to hang out and chat a bit about the build and kind of just check it out and kind of imagine what it's going to be. So yep, looking at the bedroom section, starting the framing for that. Gonna put in the floor joist for the bed. And underneath the bedroom is going to be roughly 48 square feet of tool storage, multi-level. It's going to include a drop-down staircase and rear entrance into the habitat. Here I'm fitting up the customer requested storage hatch on the driver's side of the habitat. This will be for tool storage and some other things that you can access from the exterior. Well, one tip I have for anybody that's getting into fabrication is I like to go through and tack weld my entire project together and then make sure everything lines up properly before coming back and finish welding it. Because it's a lot easier to cut some tack welds and reposition than it is to cut out an entire fully welded section. As I mentioned before on this build, the height of the project and the height of the ceiling are very, very close. So with maximum space constraints, maximized, it's time to take this thing for a walk outside. So here I am getting my lean on. So I'm trying to extend my little Warren winch as far as it'll go. For those of you guys who haven't seen these Warren winches before, they're pretty handy. They make them in a battery pack, I think 24-volt version, and my version, which is a plug-in 110. I've used them from everything from ripping out bamboo plants, recovering vehicles, and now pulling a habitat out of a shop. As you can see here, the winch doesn't quite have enough power to drag the habitat along the cement. It does not have wheels underneath it yet. And it is also dragging on the top of the shop. So I got to give it a little extra. With the habitat free from the confines of the shop, I go ahead and get some casters put underneath it, just using a bottle jack and a couple of pry bars. From there, I'm going to try to winch this thing to the side, try to get it ready for all the aluminum skins and the finished roof. Another tip when you're working by yourself, it's always good to have a plan. For instance, I have limiting straps tied up to this thing so it doesn't accidentally just keep rolling and go down the street. Halves out of the shop, moving on to the next chapter of the build. We're going to put some aluminum skins and a roof on this and make it a home.